Hello, welcome to Fininvest Niger. My name is Tom Princewill. I'm a certified investment and securities professional, and I've been investing for the past 20 years. We have different category of investors, different strategies out there in the market, and you could choose any based on your natural capacity and tolerance for risk. We have value investing, there is some growth investing, as well as some momentum investing. For those who adopt the momentum strategies, they buy high flying stock with the belief that the stock will keep on going higher and someone else will come and buy and overprice stocks from them. It happens actually. Then for the growth camp, the growth investors actually buy stocks that have a tendency and a capacity to grow exceedingly when it comes to other stocks that are listed in the market. They go for high growth stocks with that belief that the stock will keep on growing in the near and distant future. Well, personally, I want to subscribe to the value category, to the value school of investing, and that is buying cheap stocks, beating down stocks, solid companies with strong fortress balance sheet, good fundamentals that are selling at a cheaper price for reasons that may not be explained in this particular video. But all the same, you come across cheap stocks in the market from time to time, and whenever you're opportunity to come across those stocks, please don't ignore them. And that's why in the course of this video, I want to highlight the need to buy these three cheap banking stocks. The stocks are relatively cheap considering their solid fundamentals and excellent balance sheets. And the stocks here are Access Corporation, that's Access Bank. We have Ecobank Transnational, and then UBA. Access Corporation, that's an Access Bank, ETI, as well as UBA. Let us start with Access Bank. The current price, as indicated here, is 22.60 naira. That's 22 naira 60 kobo is the current stock price, and the stock has a market cap or market capitalization of 1.18 trillion naira. Market cap simply means the stock price multiplied by the number of shares outstanding, and of course, this share outstanding varies from company to company. So you simply multiply the stock's current stock price by the number of shares outstanding. That will give you the market capitalization. This particular figure is just to give you a guide as regards to the size of the company you are investing in. Is it a small cap stock? Is it a mid cap stock? Is it a large cap stock? Is it a mega cap stock? Is it a micro cap stock, as the case may be? So this particular figure gives an idea of how big or how small, essentially, the size of the company you are buying into, which of course will somewhat regulate the nature of strategy you are going to adopt, as the case may be. So let's look at the other column here. This column represents the third quarter revenue or turnover or earnings. In banking, you call it interest income of this particular company, Access Bank. Now, you discover that in the year 2024, the bank made a turnover of 2.16 trillion naira. Imagine that, wow. 2.16 trillion naira was the turnover for the year 2024. Then for last year, 2025, the turnover, the revenue jumped to 2.74 trillion, from 2.16 trillion to 2.74 trillion. That's a marginal increase in turnover, but all the same, it's still significant. Now let's go to the quarterly profit column. This is the third quarter. You could observe that the bank made a profit of 441 billion naira in the third quarter of 2024, and for the third quarter 2025, the bank recorded 424 billion naira. That's a slight decrease from what was obtained in 2024. 2024 was 441 billion as against 427 billion in 2025. Now, we now go to one of the most significant, if not the most significant, aspect of evaluating companies, and that's the earning per share. The earning per share simply means the net profit of the company divided by the share outstanding. The net profit of the company divided by the number of shares outstanding. So in this case, the earning per share gives you how valuable is a roadmap, a framework within which you could evaluate or value, the company proper. So in this case, you discover that at the year 2024, the earning per share was 12 naira 40 kobo, and unfortunately, it dropped to 8 naira in 2025. There was that particular a slight drop, to 8 naira, and then we come to the PE ratio. And this is what really helps to give you a guide as regards to how cheap or expensive a stock would be. So in this case, the PE ratio simply means the share price divided by the earning per shares. If you divide the share price indicated here by the earning per share, that will give you the PE ratio. It serves as a guide to tell you precisely whether the company you want to invest in is expensive or not. So in this case, you usually compare stocks in the same sector. You make a kind of apple to apple comparison. In this case, these companies are in the same sector, and you could see how the PE ratios are arranged. So in this case, Access Bank has a PE ratio of 2.83. It isn't very expensive. Some other stocks in the market have double digits, high figure as earning per shares, as PE ratio. So in this case, the company is relatively cheap. And usually when it comes to investing, you make your money when you buy, not necessarily when you sell. In other words, when you buy a cheap company, you stand to gain so much compared to buying an expensive stock. Because if you buy an expensive stock, you discover that your returns at the end of the day may not be as much as buying a cheap stock. Let's go to ETI. It's a bank actually that has branches in other West African countries. You discover that the stock price here, as indicated in the table, is 48 naira. Okay, and the market cap is 1.14 trillion naira. 1.14 trillion naira. And let's observe what is obtainable from the third quarter revenue. So we are able to observe that at the year 2024, the company made revenue of 2.93 trillion, 2.93 trillion, as against 3.55 trillion, by the year 2025. That's last year. So 2024 was 2.93 trillion, and 2025 was 3.55 trillion, not billion, trillion naira. Imagine the kind of returns, revenue these companies are generating. I want to plead and appeal that you should come and partake in the wealth creation opportunities that are inherent in these companies I'm telling us about. So let's look at the profit this time around. The profit actually, as indicated here, during the year 2024, the company recorded a profit of 492 billion naira, 492 billion naira, and then as at last year, the profit jumped to 702 billion naira, 702 billion naira. What an increase! It like almost doubled. It's a remarkable level of growth. So, as per the earning per share column, the company recorded 13 naira 61 kobo as earning per shares in 2024, and the figure rose to 19.9 19.86 or 19 naira 86 kobo in 2025. So there is some increase in earning per shares in this respect compared to Access Bank that had a drop in earning per shares. So the PE ratio here is as little as 2.42, and this is the cheapest banking stock in the banking sector. This is the cheapest so far in the banking sector. You want to go for the cheapest stock, this particular company is for you. Ecobank is a candidate. Let's lastly go to UBA, United Bank for Africa, and the share price here is 44 naira 50 kobo, as we can observe on the table here, and then the market cap is 1.90 trillion, 1.90 trillion, and the revenue generated as at the third quarter of 2024 was 2.5 trillion, and then as per 2025 the revenue rose to 2.5 trillion, 2.4 trillion to 2.5 trillion naira. That's an increase of about 100 billion naira. So we look at the figure for the profit column. The company made a profit of 1.6 trillion naira at the year 2024, as against 751 billion naira, last year 2025. There's a drop in profit from 1.6 trillion to 751 billion naira. And for the earning per share figures there, you discover that there was a drop from 15 naira 15 kobo to 13 naira 56 kobo. And then the PE ratio here is 3.24. Okay, so if I'm to recommend what you ought to buy, I think you could go for ETI. But if you still have the money, you could put into these three stocks with emphasis on ETI. All right, because it's the cheapest here, as you could see from the fundamentals I've just analyzed in this particular presentation. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel if you've not done that. Drop a comment in the comment section and help me share this video to members of your community. My desire is to reach out to 1 million Nigerians with the investment message as it relates to wealth creation in the Nigerian stock markets.